Hi, I'm Richard Muscio, CPA, and today I want to talk about value pricing, which is a much different concept than the way CPAs usually charge people, which is by the hour. Now, I've talked a little bit before about this shift away from timesheets, keeping track of time, where we have these arbitrary billing rates of $100 an hour, $200 an hour, whatever the case may be, where CPAs keep track of their time and then bill clients based on how much time they spent times their hourly rate. Same for their staff. I want to talk about how to actually implement what we call value pricing in a really, really interesting article that was in Accounting Today last week, this periodical Accounting Today. It was called Valuable Lessons in Value Pricing. Be creative, be experimental, and this is the one that really gets CPAs, and be ready to fail. CPAs don't like failure. And my good friend Dan Morris, who's a partner in the San Jose firm of Morris and D'Angelo, his partner's Pat D'Angelo, is one of the leading authorities, I think, here in the CPA profession on how to actually implement, how to put value pricing into a CPA practice. Because this is a big change for a lot of CPAs. If you have historically been billing your clients based on the hours you spend on the things that you do and the billing rates of you and your staff, and your clients are used to that, that doesn't mean your clients like it, by the way. Most of your clients probably hate it. But if that's what you're used to, and if that's what your clients are used to, getting over to value pricing can be a real challenge. And so this is a great article, again, Valuable Lessons in Value Pricing, and be prepared to fail, because it gives some really practical tips about how to get into this mode of trying to capture value for yourself while you're providing great value to your clients. Okay, and the first subtitle of this is called Just Do It. And by just do it, the article means, Dan Morris means, take your timesheets and throw them away, at least for billing purposes. You may want to keep your timesheets for keeping track of how long projects take and for workflow purposes and other reasons. But do not use the timesheets to try to capture revenue from your clients. Now, a lot of CPAs say, well, wait a minute, if I get rid of timesheets, I have nothing. I have no tools with which to bill or, determine price for my clients. The answer there is, so what? Don't worry about it. Just figure something out. You were smart enough to get through accountancy school and to pass the CPA exam. You can figure out other ways to capture value for yourself. Best point made in this article is when it comes to working with your clients, particularly your very best clients working on important projects to them, just sit down across the table from your client and talk about the value of what you're doing for them, to them, and just negotiate a price. Just good old-fashioned negotiation. If you're saving a client $1 million because of the brilliant estate planning you're doing, the client, by the way, could care less how long that takes you or how fast that takes you. Sit down and negotiate a price that's fair. In that case, maybe the answer is $100,000, 10% of the savings or something like that as an example. Just sit down with your client and talk about the value. This is really important, though, because when we talk about having important discussions with your best clients, sitting across the table from your best clients, talking about important things, this discussion about value frequently brings up other things that the client wants and needs, which typically have nothing to do with your historical work like tax returns and financial statements, and more usually has to do with more value-added things that the client is looking for from the CPA. Really funny story that I'm going to finish with in this concept, but again, getting back to just sitting down in front of that client and talking about value. Dan recounts a really funny story where he proposed a price to a client, and the client came back with a different price, and they did a little bit of good old-fashioned haggling. And I forget the exact amount, but rounded off, I think the client, the most he was willing to pay was $15,000, but Dan was holding out for an $18,000 fee. They settled the debate over pricing by flipping a coin. And I think Dan won, so he got the $18,000 and not the $15,000 price. But when we say be creative, you don't need to beat this to death. Just find creative ways to have important discussions with your clients about the value that you're providing and how you can share in that value, and how you make them and their needs and wants a priority. And you'll find that the timesheets are almost meaningless when it comes to capturing value, because your hourly billing rate is arbitrary anyway. You will find that your very best clients love getting billed this way because, first of all, they know in advance what the price is going to be. And secondly, it's tied to some perception of value on the client's part. So again, great article in Accounting Today. Suggest everybody read it. And that's all for value pricing. Thank you.